years now, and the Color Block Mural Program, and I'm just here to say thank you for your support. We appreciate it. If you have any questions, I brought some maps in case you want them in your place of business. But we will, I think we're in year 2 of a 3-year contract with you.
I think that's.
I think I should double check that, but we really appreciate your support and thank you.
It took us a long time to get even permission to have pictures
Yeah,
in the town block. But I'm happy when we finally let it go. we were a go.
really too.
Yep.
And it was, you know, I work with the Danbury group that puts on the art crawl and a couple other markets over there, and I'm thinking, you know, a little art fair here on Grand Avenue would be a nice thing. If we can help with that, let me know.
And this, I try to do things in conjunction with stuff that's on South Barstow, but sometimes it's hard to get people to click. Literally take this lead
Make the walk over.
Yep.
Yeah.
over, including like the trick or treating. Over here, better have to establish ourselves in separate kind of historically, and I think it's time for us to kind of think about that branding, because this was the historic way. I remember as a kid, this was the way. No, there was no Lake Street Bridge, so this was
The way you got there. Yeah.
this was the main connection. So that was, and over the footbridge, and so since we're so interconnected.
Do you have speakers on the street?
We do not.
Okay. I also work with Converge Media, and they do the music on South Barstow. Who are able to do announcements and things.
I mean, Jeff, during the summer, he's got speakers outside, and so he plays music outside, but for the rest of the year, I think I've shown out there. You're a good man.
Sarah is on her way.
Sarah, on the way. Thank you, Joe. Official. Does anybody have any questions for you?
I'm looking for.
I would say I'll take some too.
Thank you. Appreciate
Well,
that.
thank you for all your hard work with that.
Thank you.
I mean, it's always interesting and wonderful to in May, to discover
To get the new one.
Yeah, so they use that sculptures.
Yep,
So,
I
you never know.
believe it's May 18th for next year.
May 18th.
I'll have to look at the Thursday.
Put them out
I
in
think it's the
the
18th.
restaurants.
And I certainly can bring more down to anybody who wants them.
When do you remove it?
Usually the 3rd week in April. Maybe that final week kind of depends on weather and what else is going on in town. We seem to take them down before the marathon every year, and I don't know that, that's not really intentional.
Yeah.
You do it just because that's when you can get the help to do it,
Well,
or?
we need to get them back to the artists because we do a big exchange the first weekend in May, and there's 5 other cities.
That gives a chance
And
to transfer down.
yeah, and it gives us a chance, we haven't done a great job of it, but it gives us a chance to clean up the pedestal from some repairs we really need to next year.
Yeah, and the marathon is always going to be around that in the first day.
Yeah.
There's no way around that.
Well, the other thing is, it's kind of good to have the sculptures gone for a couple of weeks and have people go, oh, I miss them. You know, because you become house blind, and we want people to realize that they do add to the community, and trading them out every spring is a lot of work, but I think it keeps it fresh and reminds people that they're there. So,
Well, Julie, if you want to stay for Dan's presentation, you sure can, when we're the presentation of the sculptures, like.
I can, if you want me to, if I can help with that process at all, I'd be glad to.
That would be a yes.
Okay.
That's always been. Let's do the minutes. You guys get a chance to read the minutes from last month. Need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
John, second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Financials, so we've only done 1 month past this last one.
We'll say the sponsorship and the one that you sent me last week have not gone out yet, so they're not showing on there.
Oh, so that,
Next one they'll be on there.
so that's what we talked about.
Yep.
Any questions at all on the financial? I get a motion to approve those.
Make motion to approve the financial.
Thanks, John.
Second.
Dave? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks so much. Let's skip holiday decor and let's just jump into sculptures and stand as we are here.
All right.
It's closer, yeah, around it, thank you.
Yeah.
You got one?
Please, yeah, and this is for Sharon.
I'm Dan Ingersoll, and I'm here today. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this part of it, but I'm gonna say that I'm not here trying to sell you something that 3 years ago I was asked to design a sculpture for the big group. Greg Johnson, who was working with, I partnered with Greg Johnson, Marcus and Forge to create, the RCU sculpture in town. And he helped support the steel structure of the ingrain, which is a sculpture, looking at images of it that I created in 2021 for the sculpture tour. And over the course of the past 3 years, it's my understanding that the project is still ongoing, and I proceeded it. So I'm here to answer questions, kind of explain from my perspective what the project was and so forth and so on. If you skip to the, let's skip the first 2 pages. And just give you a little background in terms of me. I've been a teacher in Eau Claire I was a teacher at Lamont High School for my last 17 years. Prior to that, I was an elementary art coordinator in the district. When I retired from Memorial, I taught 3 years at UW Eau Claire art education, and I taught 3 semesters of ceramics at Eau Claire. Throughout that time, I've been an artist in the community and participated in shows regionally and nationally, primarily in the area of ceramics. But I taught sculpture at Memorial High School as well, and generally produced, sculptures that were like this scale. And my father passed and left me a little bit of discretionary money, and I jumped in 2021 to create something for the sculpture tour. And I'm not trying to promote my resume, but I want you to have an understanding of sort of how I think about sculptures and art. And the end grain piece, if you look at that, it is a reflection of the confluence. The Y form was a reflection of this is the end grain piece. So when you look at a piece of art, people say, well, what's it about? So this really reflected the logging history of our past. It's 100 ceramic logs that I created and fired in the kiln, and so it reflects that. The V reflects the confluence, it reflects the valley, and the opening is a portal to our future. The water passes through it, and you can have various views of Eau Claire through it. And so that's what that was about. And then from that piece, I was contacted and asked to be involved in designing a piece for the RCU building downtown. That was a sister piece of sorts in that it's related in form, and yet that related to the Universal Pass. So that's on the second page. The tread pattern going down the middle is And I share this with you only because I'm assuming you're all interested in the city and, you know, the history of that. And so that's kind of where my pieces have evolved from. This is the original tread pattern, the red striped tire in the center, the reflection of the S bridge that crosses the river for Uniroyal. The circles represent the first 100 participants in the RCU, or in the in RCU, or part of that. So that was the stainless steel piece there. When I was asked to go to this next page, when I was asked to consider something for the Grand Avenue area, my thought was the bridge. And if you look at this, and this is from the Chippewa Valley Museum, Grand Avenue Kelsey Street Bridge, something I didn't know, it's called Kelsey Street, for it's called Grand Avenue, was a bridge that was consisted of 500,000 board feet of timber and iron, and it had a life of about 12 years, I guess, before a flood took it out, which is pretty surprising. It was a turnstile bridge that allowed the ferries at the time to pass through, and it was designed to divert logs through the pilings, because logging was a big thing. Then in 1880, that bridge was replaced, if you go to the next page, with a steel bridge. Part of my design, and it is reflective of the shapes within this particular structure. And then in the, I believe it was 72, the bridge was decommissioned, and then in 1980, it was turned into the first foot bridge. Then later, it's been updated again since then. I don't remember the date, the latest update was the new railings and that sort of thing. So the focus on the bridge, and if you're interested in that, I mean, and then on this last page, there's more of a detailed history of that, filed by Chippewa Valley Museum. The focusing on the bridge is really focusing on commerce and the idea that it worked to establish a flow and a traffic, and interconnectedness for people on other sides of the city. Anne shared with me that basically that this was new to many of you, the idea that in the 3 years some things have evolved, and one originally as a cost saving measure had planned to, Greg Johnson and I had worked to mount the base of the sculpture was going to be mounted in a granite rock, and apparently that wasn't well received by folks, but since then it evolved in such that I designed a base that was more reflective of the steel bridge supporting the historical timbers from the timber bridge. I don't know. Why don't we can stand up? Why don't we stand up? If you want. I know, but anyway, I think we better not.
Both.
Only both.
Yeah, because it's gonna be.
Well, this is a cardboard mock-up, which is so ugly, I really decided. I wasn't sure whether it would help or hinder the process, but this is a cardboard mock-up. There's actually a 10 by 10 timber sitting outside, so you can get a sense of, well, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a balance point. This will be 400 pounds of material, but it is balanced on these. This will be half inch steel. And again, it's been knocked around my garage for 3 years. So it looks kind of like that, but that gives you a sense. Some people didn't get that it was a G form. In my mind, yeah, just the G isn't all that interesting. So it's a G form that's been sort of splayed in two directions. And I think if you know that it's the Grand Avenue G that you can see it as such, but it also allows you to see it as a work of art. And actually, this will actually be in sort of that position, a little more upright, right on the balance point. But right now, it's kind of off the balance point, just so it stays there. Some people I heard that really didn't like the color of it, but to me, it's if you look at the underside of a lot of bridges, it's an industrial color. Another option would be to cork and steel, which naturally rusts, and that's what's under the bridge right now. That would add $1,500 to my cost, since of the steel and the structure on the bottom.
So that's the color that's also under.
Lake Street Bridge.
Oh,
Yep.
I think it reads more of a brighter orange in the photos, so
Okay, sure.
it,
And you know
it
what?
seems
And that's
brighter.
Yeah.
That's just me going to Menards too, finding a can of paint, right?
Sure, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and so that, questions, I guess.
So that's the actual size of it?
That would be the scale, yeah, the actual scale. And these are actually, 10 by 10 inch treated timbers that have a lifespan of 40, 50 years. I mean, and they'd be stained or surface retreated somewhere. The joints are somewhat different. They're transitioned a little bit. There's actually three joints with these bolted and, but structurally very sound.
One of our concerns was safety.
Yeah.
Okay.
Somebody got out and climbed on it,
Yeah.
and pulled it down on themselves, or.
Or how close to a sidewalk would that be, like placement wise?
In the,
I'm, you know,
Can you see where
I guess,
can
you
you
know,
see
that
where that
safety
is on
concern is a safety
plaza?
for any of the
Mhm.
sculptures or anything we place
They
in town. I
have
talked with
we haven't had any.
the steel folks that talked about fabricating, and that was a question I posed to him. This base itself is gonna be 300 pounds and sitting on a concrete pad and, you know, I said, what if 2 or 3 college students climb on top of it? And that's solid. I mean, obviously, you know, there's a structural engineer that wants to do an analysis, and that could happen.
Well, we could install it along with, I mean, we install 130 sculptures.
Right.
And we weld them down.
Right, and so it would be, if we work with the sculpture tour, they work with us on it, you have these large concrete bases, and I don't know what.
They have metal insets that we weld sculptures to.
So then
That would-
the large concrete pad could be, if it was a permanent installation, could be,
Could be buried.
Could be
if you
buried.
don't see it.
and then this is steel, so it'd be welded to that large concrete base.
Do you have a base available? That's fine.
Yeah, I think a 3-foot base would be adequate. We have a few extras sitting over in the city lot. 3 and 4 foot. And they're that thick concrete, so that would actually raise it up some.
I do think it was a better public. We didn't see all of it. It's nice. I mean, I think of this, you know, of a bit.
As a base,
Yeah.
yes. And I like that base a lot.
Well, there was conversation
These,
about
I
that.
should have said, these will be laser cut dates, there'll be dates that will be laser cut into it that reflect with the date of the first bridge, second bridge, and the third rendition of the bridge. Possibly Grand Avenue on one side. You know, maybe stenciled, you know, so it looks like it's Old Page or something, Kelsey Street or something, could go on the surface, I don't know, there's possibilities, you know, that could make it more informational. And I don't know if, I know you do some, you know, some work with plaques and stuff and informational plaques. I know the city has, you know, historical things. So, you know, if there was a plaque with sort of the history of the bridge that accompanied it, I would.
I think, yeah, we're gonna talk about that. That's it, yeah, also. that you could. Even
So-
if you sample or put something on it, you have to be tall enough, right, to read it.
Well, I mean, it's however, I mean, it is,
Kind of right.
it
So,
is,
you know, if you did it on the computer. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm just talking that out. I just run out of, I mean, there's 3 or 1, 2. I guess there's 3 significant dates and then, you know, then one other surface left that,
Yeah.
you know, could be Grand Avenue or Kelsey Street, whichever.
Yeah.
When the,
Yeah.
Eau Claire does its tribute tour, you know. What is Kelsey Street?
Well, I mean, it's certainly, I mean, there's so many people past that point where that would go.
And have you gotten approval on that site, or is that
Still waiting on that.
an issue? This we can help with that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, I just paused for a second.
Pardon me?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's a, yeah, it's a nice spot. It doesn't have, you're not even using.
Yeah, and, you know, we certainly would be happy to include it as a sculpture on the tour.
Yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Be in the brochures and,
Thousands of people past that point. To see that. And I just think that it just adds to that kind of historic feel of the area, because I think that's it. If you're of a certain age, you just don't know, the history.
I didn't know it was
Well, I
cultural.
guess from my perspective, if there's any questions that I can answer or. Take my sculpture and go. I guess, you know, if for any reason, you know, I can leave that model if there's any interest in it or share it with someone else.
Pictures? Can do that.
One thing regarding liability, you had a question about safety, and Sculpture Tour carries a liability policy on the sculptures that we are leasing. This would be a permanent
We
sculpture that the city owns, but they carry liability as well.
And we hold it. That's what
Yeah.
Because we also have to have insurance on our.
You know, I'm sorry.
I'm Jay.
Jay?
Yeah.
Jay, you know, to your question, and I think it's a very good one. It's one that's on my mind, you know, in terms of liability and all of this sort of thing. I shared that model with the steel folks and they looked at it and said, it's absolutely solid. It's not going anywhere. And, you know, they were confident that it would be fine. I did talk to Air Associates and said, you know, what would it cost to do an analysis, and it would cost me $2,500 to have them look at it.
Yeah.
And tell me
That
that,
it's fine.
and tell me the same thing to tell me that it's fine, you know? So anyhow,
Yeah.
I look at 700 sculptures a year
yeah,
and look at them for safety. You know, can people get hurt on it without trying? Is it durable? Can it withstand weather and all that? You know, before we even look at it as art, we answer those questions. That's more solid than most of what I read.
I think I'd be worried about kids hitting their head on the edge. Like if it was close to a sidewalk, like I'm not sure
I
how
don't think
far
it's where
off.
people learn to walk, so, and so
and
that's.
you know what, this is something that I've asked myself a question
It's,
about this, and
yeah, to the left.
it
so
could
it's not where
possibly
people-
change, if I rotated this base so that these, this could be rotated so that you don't have points sticking out here.
Mhm.
Um, could be done.
Well, thank you guys
Yeah.
for
Yes,
supporting
thank you.
public art.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're aware of the, school district did a survey and they found that over 90% of the kids in the Eau Claire school district would not ever see art, wouldn't go to a gallery or a museum with their parents. 90%. And I consider it's a fairly middle class town. I was shocked. And so public art is really important.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's interesting what she said, and this is maybe off topic, but I used to coach mountain biking with a group out at, Lowe's Creek. We had, I think, 135 students, and 2 times a year we can't bike out at Lowe's. We have to bike downtown because the county fair and then something else is going on. And I remember the first year we brought all the kids downtown and I was riding with the group and they would be like, I've never been on these trails before. I've never seen this before. And then I, emailed all the coaches and said, did anybody else get that? Like, how many kids have not been on the trails downtown? And this was, probably 3 years ago, I think, when I started, and I was shocked just to hear that, like, some kids don't really get out downtown. So anyway. That was fun.
Karen, you provided a picture.
Yeah, so I sent the picture, and the point I was trying to make with this was, I did a road trip up the North Shore. And obviously it's just an object, but I guess blurb, whatever, the placard that came with it, I don't know, gave some weight to the sculpture.
Yeah.
And I guess my feeling is maybe if we had been given something with the sculpture, like I personally, I don't like it. I don't think it reflects a bridge. I don't think it's historic. I don't think it fits the neighborhood maybe for the price. And then if we aren't, if we don't have approval for it from the city, like we're putting so many things, I don't know, the cart before the horse, having the blurb for that, I don't know, made me appreciate it more, or gave a history, or it tied something together where it was like, wow, that's cool. I feel like we should think about what are we trying to put out there, because my fear is, okay, say we approve this, we're going to put a sculpture up. If nobody's working on this part, what does it say? What is our overall mission? What do we want people to know about the bridge or Grand Avenue? Like, I think those questions need to be answered before we can approve the sculpture.
Before that, it was also a memorial sculpture. The good work in Key West Crane. So an idea of like engraving or somehow, you'd be able to add, to that. And so there's always going to be a separate kind of plaque to it. But we're waiting to see, right, till you get the sculpture and then designing a plaque for the flat, with the plaque.
Yeah.
I do think it's important to have that kind of history, of this area. It's kind of important, it's part of this greater Randall Park historic neighborhood as well. And so,
but I think understanding the story that we're putting out there before the sculpture, like what is it we want people to know? If nobody knew there was a bridge there, I think there has to be something that's acknowledged before we say, does this sculpture represent that? Do I think that sculpture represents the bridge? I don't. That's just my personal
explanation, I'm just
no. And maybe though the wording of something can sway your mind to see something in it.
yeah.
So does the wording come before that? I'm not sure. It's my personal opinion. I think it's not historic, and therefore it's hard to visualize.
Sure.
And I had no idea it was going to commemorate people. I think if that needs to be included into it, there needs to be more information given.
Let me ask this, before, you came in today, you guys had already approved this way back when, right? And he was working on it. So that's gonna water over the dam, right? I mean, it's just a matter of,
yep. I mean, the only difference
yep.
is the base, the base.
The base, yeah.
Did you approve the amount that
Up to 10,000. Because we spent 10,000 on the mural. Yes, on the.
I just want to say something because I'm in the art scene as well. And, public art is super important, like Julie said. Having more in your district would be great, especially given this partnership with the Sculpture Tour as they continue to expand to support you. But I do think that it's okay not to like it. I do think what your point is, I think the plaque does complete the project, right? The sculpture becomes alive with it. So it's not a dog riding a bicycle. It's not a bear or a dog giving a high five. Those are really cute and great, and we're continuing to get those within our community for like the public when they vote on people's choice. I think the biggest problem when you're an artist too is having to please everyone, and that's an impossible task. It is your district, so you do need to make it what you want. But I think there's other ways we can do that through kind of developing your planter program, like we talked about, or how we're using banners in this area or decorating, and so that you get the vibe of West Grand. But this is I do feel good. As you walked us through the history and I looked at those pictures, like it became very real to me that this is such a significant passage between the two pieces of downtown. And so I guess without getting too heavy on exactly what it looks like, I think if you guys develop out the way that the story is told, really will bring to life your district. And so just keep that in mind as you're deciding that it could be more about that piece than even what, visually the aesthetic that you believe it to be. And then the safety issue too. I mean, we have, Julie said how many sculptures we have. There really has not been any significant anything other than a few stolen sculptures or a little vandalism. So I would worry less about that as well for this purpose. But those are just my thoughts as working with these, sculpture tour a long time. And Dan too, his sculptures within the community do draw people down. A lot of people, you probably had them in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My husband did, like.
And
yeah.
I can see in the other photos that he showed how it does kind of somewhat play a role. And maybe it is the significance of having the wordage to draw you in.
Right.
I do not get that right now.
Sure.
And if we're not, like, this has been going on 3 years, if we don't take, the time to do it now, when will we
Right.
do it? Like, if that's been dragging out for 3 years, you know what I mean? I feel like that might be a part that doesn't get done. And then how many people just come to the neighborhood and go, what's that, without the
Well,
body?
this is the part where Becky, as a service provider next year, would be helping this along. We don't expect you as individual volunteers on the bid to have to move it. Once you guys get the approval, that's where we then partner with Julie at Sculpture Tour and Visit Eau Claire and make sure that you're getting what you want out of it. I think we can absolutely help support that, and it'd be a great project for us to help you guys with.
And I think people questioning too, like, what is that, might actually draw them over to it. And then if you do have like the placard, then they'll read it and they actually will connect it to the history more too.
Where is this at with city approval then?
So then we just has to get city approval, and then it goes through planning and then city hall.
And I think the reason the city did not approve was the mounting on the granite rock is what they didn't.
They were concerned about that, but we have a new, right, so we'll just go through that process again.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the spot is fine, the spot. It's an open spot, and I'm not removing, and then moving in greenery and things like that. So, and I do agree seeing that face in toned down, because even when I took pictures of it, it looked more orange.
Yeah.
Right, just from a photograph, but that face is, I always see a G, so I can unsee the G.
I do too.
Whatsoever, I think that people will. I do think it's interesting, and I do think what will happen is that people will see it from different angles. You can actually see his other sculpture from that spot. You can see the B from that, which I thought was kind of interesting, that you would have both sides of the river. That kind of makes that kind of connection. Anything I think that kind of connects the two sides of downtown, I think is always a good thing.
Well, if it's already been approved for 10,000, I don't know how we can not approve it. One thing legally, but the thing is, I think what we could do is maybe address the issues and say, we're going to go forward with it, but you want this and this and this. And like he said, that you could maybe put Grand Avenue on it, you could maybe laser cut the dates in it. Maybe we should.
Finalize everything.
Right. So
before
we get what you want and see about a plaque or something on it.
Yeah, if we can do that today, that would be good. Right, because he's gonna
Tell
have
him
to,
this is what we
he's
want.
gonna have to make that during the, you know what I mean, so that it's ready by spring, but, you know, spring, so hopefully that we can get the process and get through planning and moderation up to city council.
Do we need to put some specifications to him?
What are we approving today
Yeah.
anyways?
So it's already been approved.
So what, why are we even talking about it?
You're proving it, I mean, it's got a new base on it, so I mean, I think John is just saying that some of the things that you just like to see, you know, on the sculpture itself. Separately, we can do our own.
I think it all needs to be lumped into one. We need to have a plaque. We need to know what the final sculpture is. And he just said, if they're gonna do this, it's an extra $1,150.
If you change
So
it.
what is the cost?
Extra.
Right, but what is the cost? What does the plaque look like? Who pays for the plaque structure?
That's separate, that is.
But I think it has,
That's separate from him.
right.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying, though, it should be part of the whole package. What we are all gonna approve on is what the package looks like, what the whole process, what does the finished product look like? Is there gonna be a plaque? When is the city approval? I think it is hard to say, I'm gonna vote to do this if we don't have some of these things in motion or acknowledged as part of the project. That makes sense? Like it should be the whole scope. I know it might not be his, you know, thing to do that, but whose is it then? And when will it happen?
You wanna make a motion?
Well, hold on. One thing is the paint color was an issue, right? Was that one thing?
Well, it was reading very, like, we just had seen the photos before, and it
But-
was like a bright orange.
I mean, is that something we want in the conditions if we're
Well,
doing
yeah.
different base that we want to approve the final paint color?
I think that's what he
Good.
had
Yeah.
just there. So
Okay.
it did look more of almost like a rusted kind of
Yeah.
patina
Yeah.
color.
And then did we want something engraved into the steel and then lasered into the wood? Is that,
I think
we
you
had kind of talked about
should
that.
probably laser it into the steel, otherwise,
Yeah,
you
agree.
know,
Yeah.
eventually the letters will be gone.
And what do you
Yeah.
want lasered into the steel? The year?
So
You're-
Dave,
It was those 3 days, and then there was.
And then-
space for one more.
maybe Grand Avenue, I would say.
I think Grand
I
Avenue.
wouldn't say Kelsey.
You wanna
Yeah.
take Grand Avenue or what?
That's Grand.
Well, okay. And then the plaque, how do we get the plaque?
I think we need to reach out to like Sign Art or something and they can help us with
How
that.
do the plaques come with the statue or for the,
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah,
So
art
I
show.
think if Sculpture Tour is willing to partner on this to some capacity, I think there's an ask there about making sure it's kind of aesthetically matching with the other things they do.
Mhm.
There's a bunch in Phoenix Park as you do the walkthrough, like with historical information. But yeah, there's a bunch of businesses. So either if we can find out if Sculpture Tour is willing to assist with the cost of that. Potentially, if not, then we'll know if it has to be a bid expense. Maybe we talk to the city too. So there's other avenues to partner on that piece. But we can start working on finding out.
Yeah.
answers
And maybe
to that.
where will it go if the sculpture is into, you know, the grass, what's surrounding, because I know in the sculpture tours, they're low. So will you be able to see the plaque?
That's more for the artist to take. The ones that have historical information are basically like waist height. So that kids and, you know, everyone can read it. So I would imagine all of those things can happen. It's just a matter of kind of fine tuning. So again, I think, if that's really important to you, Decky can go on a little, a search mission to figure out options for that and costs. But I do think it's separate from this project because it might be again, a sculpture tour thing or possibly.
well, we need to know for sure if the sculpture is gonna provide us with a base, the well sculpture
She,
down
she
to.
said she had the base.
She thought she did.
She said, they had.
And then if they're gonna just do that as a partnership, or that's gonna be a cost incurred.
Well, I think it's gonna be added to the sculpture tour,
Yeah. So they
map
bought
of, yeah, like this is
Yeah, but we
the.
don't know.
I heard Julie say she would do that.
I wonder if there's an opportunity for Debbie. I think we have a list, and we can kind of work through some of these questions and bring a ton more information back to you at your next meeting. Answering the questions about sculpture tour, I think I heard your question around the city's process for approval. We can do that too. And getting information on like, who's gonna write this description? How is it gonna be printed? And who's gonna get paid for it? All of this
I'll give you a
That
head,
list
Well,
would
I'll
be
give you a head
excellent.
start.
Yeah, right. Well, but if we, my point is if we don't put those things into motion or put it out there, it will not get done. And if this has been dragging on for 3 years, then like, I feel like that would be another one that would not
But I
get
think
done.
it's been dragging on for 3 years because there has been really lackluster structure for the bids working with the city. That's exactly where you're here. And honestly, we didn't get a minute to introduce Kate, and I feel like that's important because her role directly aligns with this project. So Kate is, Kate Felton, former council member, for 9 years. She also owns a business downtown, but recently was hired at, Decky as the, strategic and civic communications coordinator. So basically, this project would be on her plate. She already knows so many people at the city, and so basically could start this process today with a phone call over there.
Yeah.
So we are getting answers like this, when it used to take weeks or months. So it's kind of part of a bigger picture, and so I want you to try to like positively think about like how we can work together more in the future than what has happened in the past, on this type of project. So I would worry less about the fact that nothing's happened in 3 years. I mean, North Barstow had projects that have been postponed 5 years because they just couldn't get communication.
Well, isn't it the scalp? If you hired this guy 3 years ago, he was dragging his feet.
No, I
He's had
Never
that,
got
he's had
official.
that stuff
For
locked
3
up
years, we've been
for
waiting.
3 years, yeah.
I mean,
They just
I don't
put it in
get
the garage.
how you can
I don't want.
up to 10,000, so
I-
obviously the.
I hear you, and I completely agree, and I think, I also agree that there needs to be that connection, like some sort of explanation to really have the history come through the sculpture. I totally agree. I think, like, what I'm hearing, I feel 100% confident that we can answer all these questions and get the project moving it forward. So if you just give Jackie a little bit of time and you're new service provider, and
How much time?
So
so you have meetings every month, every quarter?
I mean, we've met more this year than we've ever met, but then this is a big project.
Well, I think it's
so-
important to meet because otherwise it's all forward moving progress.
Do you have any more set for December, or was this your fourth quarter meeting?
In November.
Oh,
I mean,
please. Oh.
Just kidding.
I would need to get all these questions answered at least a month would be nice to like, because there's a lot of moving pieces. So either a December or January meeting probably still gives time for a spring install. Depending on, and again, I don't know, did he give you guys a time frame of when he actually starts? What it takes, I don't know, I missed that. I mean, I think he can make the sculpture in 6 months.
I mean,
I feel like that's a definite.
yeah, I think it's, I think by the end of December, I mean, if you get on there.
Right.
That would be good. So are you thinking like just after the parade into December, not on Christmas?
Do Christmas meeting. That'd be Ted.
You think that gets enough time to?
December, so you're saying like late
So
December?
there's things, I mean, early September.
Probably like second. Yeah.
Do you have other ones?
There's nothing on the calendar, so you would need to set a meeting.
I think we can definitely at least get some answers about like what we should expect about the process, by then. Yeah. I think we can get enough answers, we'll feel a little bit better about like what's actually happening with it.
And where a plaque might be located.
Right.
Junction. Okay.
Is that something that you'd be able to like email the group too?
Yeah. So the
Prior to, prior to
now.
the meeting, just so
Weirdly,
people can
Jackie
kind of
can.
digest.
Yeah.
that.
Yes, I will,
Okay.
I'll make a note to give you like a few days, at
Sure.
least like week, would a week, few days be okay to? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what we can do is put together all the information, send it out to you guys. You can respond individually to Jackie and we can gather that information. We also could maybe do a quick, just like survey if it's easier or response form if that's easier, but yeah, that should, I don't think should be a problem.
And then meet in December.
If you guys want to, I mean, the other thing you can do is
Is
nominate.
this, is
I
this
think what Sharon says, we just kind of need and go, so we need like a
a clear understanding of what our $10,000 is going to?
Sure.
Because some of us have reservations about spending that kind of money on something that I get the art part. I love art. I don't understand the connection to the neighborhood or to the bid. It would be nice. I think the plaque, like sharing the story might seal the deal and say, oh, that does make sense. I love the story. It goes well with this. Prior to even seeing the one that I saw up north, I would have looked at that and thought, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
But then reading the story I was like, oh, that's cool. I personally don't want to spend $10,000 of our money on that without other things in place, knowing, yeah, where is the exact placement? Yeah, what's the base gonna be? Who's the base? Who's gonna cover the base? Or even like the colors, and then him talking about, I can etch this in there. Well, what if he decides he wants to etch something in there, goes ahead and does it, but nobody in the committee knew it, and then we have people we want to commemorate from the neighborhood. Who are those people? There's so many things that I feel like are unanswered that it'd be nice to have it in a complete package so everybody knows. So that when I walk past it in the future, I don't feel like, damn, I can't believe we spent 10 grand on that.
I do think that I like the idea of the historic aspect for the plaque, but I don't necessarily know how the commemoration would tie into that. I almost feel like
That's separate.
it seems very
It
separate
does,
to
I
me.
agree. I agree.
So that's just my thought.
What were the guidelines that you approved when you approved it, or just
I mean, eventually, at first, it was
up to 10,000?
Can we get that information sent to us?
and then it was more of a memorial. So he had presented a number of sculpture ideas. And this is the other piece.
So if this was
This was the design. This is still the exact same design, it just has a different base.
So if this was approved as a memorial, do we have, if we aren't going to add that part of it, then is there a family out there expecting something? I don't know.
Well, we
So
can
many-
pull the minutes, right, from the meetings to see what the conversation was.
There may be another way though to do that piece of it, right? And so I do think that there's publications that need to do that part of it.
But that should be included in the, here's what we're thinking.
Yep. And it
Tie
could
off all the loose ends.
that could be separate, even like locations. I mean, that there may be.
Let us work on it. Well, I'm kind of thinking maybe we work with the artist, we work with maybe Anne, who was here when it was approved. We can get a draft of what might be said. And I think we'll have to sort of see where that goes. And maybe there is an element of a memorial. And maybe we come back at the end and say, this is what we came up with. We weren't able to figure out a way to have it be a memorial. But I think giving us some time to kind of work on it and then continue.
Well, and maybe understanding the history, because
Right.
if it was approved as a memorial, but
Right.
now we're saying we're not gonna
Well,
include the
and
memorial.
we can find the minutes from the,
Yeah, I
from
think
the
that's
meeting
important.
and try to figure that out.
So we met in December, does December 11 or 18 work?
I can't believe it's so soon. I know, stressful.
John and Joe, there's a Water Street on the 11th. Would you want to have two on the same, or would you want to have a different date for?
Maybe we will have a water street one on the 11th, though, right?
Maybe we should just cancel all meetings. the rest
Should we do
of
it?
On your chair.
Everywhere.
I mean, either of those work for me and I think so.
18 is better for me.
18 works
Yeah.
for Jay.
And then we really can't have hotty toddies because it's
So
holiday
close.
time.
18 works.
I'm gonna be out of town one of those weeks. I just don't know which one yet. I'm here on house.
So you got it for the 18th?
So 18 works. I'd like to say that's far away, but
When's the Water Street one?
It is so
The 11th.
Okay.
Gonna happen.
Old business owners.
Getting
We're
high.
always stressed. I mean, let's be real.
Usual time, 9 AM.
Mhm.
update on holiday before, do you know when that tree comes in?
Oh, sorry. So there was a, issue with the tree getting sourced.
And now, Sean is saying it would be better because we've already had our hard frost to plant it, early spring. So the tree is still coming. It's just, when he was sourcing it, they had an issue. So, since you're not lighting it anyway, I had told him that I thought you would be approving, but that I would bring it up at this meeting and let you guys.
I mean, obviously, we want the tree to survive, thrive. So we don't want to pay for a tree that might have a choice. That's a wood. Whatever.
Is that what you call it, Erin?
Whatever.
That's okay. But I can let him know your thoughts. I mean, again, unless you were decorating it this year, I don't know that it should matter too much.
Yeah, I'd say that there's a stake there.
Don't have a choice, plant it in spring. Yep.
And if it does pass away, there is a funeral home right here, so.
We
Yeah, where's Dan?
we can always get another one. Yeah.
I'll,
So let Sean read that, so let Sean know that.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then next month, then we'll get the wrapping, all that is ordered and all that.
Yep, so, the plan for, lighted garland to go up in your district is the second week of November, probably towards the end of the week. He'll be doing all 3 districts, South, North, and West Grand. Jeremy, the city electrician, is getting out into those 3 districts and testing all of the receptacles to make sure they're working. Every once in a while, there'll be one that needs to be replaced. At this point, I'm not exactly sure whose responsibility that is, but Becky is working on setting up a meeting to figure out kind of structurally who's responsible for which pieces of public property. That being said, everything looks good to go through at the end of next week. I have also talked to South Barstow Bid, and they are open to, once you guys have already agreed to purchase the garland, but they will pay for the install on half the bridge moving forward. So
they approve that, or they're thinking about it?
well, they haven't had an official lighting committee, but I have met with the committee chair multiple times, Dave Strobel, and he has agreed to me on separate occasions that he will do this. They said they had no problem with it. That being said, it would really be a matter of how Thomas Lee just fills out the labor. So, so that conversation's happening. I think he is trying to set up a lighting committee meeting sometime soon. Did you get that out of the exec? Before he goes to Florida for first quarter. I'll figure that out for you. So that's exciting.
That is exciting. So that's Dave Strobel. Well, that would be nice.
Wouldn't that be nice?
See, more connections. I'm all for connections and partnerships, so fantastic. Excellent. Let's talk about those planters.
Okay, so we have been in touch with Earth Planter. Kate reached out. We weren't able to see a wholesale list. We have to kind of send in for a quote. So Kate did that. We haven't heard back yet. We'll follow back up and again soon. That being said, we did put something in your packet, and I have a little bit of other information to pass out to you. So unfortunately, the only invoice I could easily find on Earth Planter was from 2022, and that was the initial pricing we got. We do know planters increased since then, at least $100 each in the wholesale cost for each size. But we're going to wait for that quote. So that's there for you as well. I guess I should ask if you guys have any questions. So the 3 vases that you're seeing here are the style that is in North and South Barstow district. North Barstow only uses the urban vase 31, which is roughly 3 feet in diameter. That's why it's a 3-1. And then the urban vase 41 is the giant planters that you're seeing on the corners in South Barstow. We haven't ordered the 21, but it's a 2-foot version, so a little bit lower, takes up a little bit less sidewalk space. So that's also available to you. And obviously price would go down by size. The terracotta is the color that has been used in the other districts, because it ties into the streetscape and the bricks, and to look consistent, but there are other colors available that you guys would be welcome to choose from. I also did include, this is an older version of the Adopt a Planter program. Kate must have passed that out. That's where we actually go out and sell these vases to businesses for the bid, get the money back, and it goes back into a landscape program for you guys, less any service fees that are associated with it. South Barstow does the Adopt a Planter and then buys additional planters as they see fit to fill in areas. North Barstow is strictly done by their bid budget. So you have an option of how you'd like to do that as well. The idea is that the cost of the planter or the maintenance for the planter provides you 3 seasonal turnouts and covers the cost of that, the plants and the decorations for the holiday season. So you would get a spring, summer. This summer, since we were especially warm, Jen did put mums in some of the planters, but they were so beautiful. She didn't want to rip apart what was already looking great. And then so she's actually going to save a little money to spend on a little bit more holiday decor for this year's planters. And much of those purchases are things that would be stored and renewed and used year after year.
3 seasons too?
3 seasonal turnout.
Yeah, I like them also. They last a long time.
They do.
So
They're
like
still looking good. Yep, and she will be doing the seasonal turnout here in the next couple of weeks. The goal is to have them before Small Business Saturday, so right at Thanksgiving time. So if you want to look at, what they look like, that'll be across the pitch.
And I think we were not talking about the giant super.
No, I think the 31.
Do you guys have an idea of where they would be placed? Because I know like we don't have as much space on our sidewalks.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking more
It can't.
rectangular ones would maybe make more sense for our area than like
Yep. And they ultimately have this exact sizing in a rectangle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it does come in terracotta.
And
So.
maybe this, I don't know, Jackie, or if you, I think somebody should come from the city that would be approving the location, because as I've gone out, there's definitely spots that you could put one, but in my mind, I'm like, well, that makes sense. But I know when Aaron had said there's some that they block like the line view, especially the bigger ones for
Yeah.
cars. Well, if there's, things that you aren't taking into consideration, and then, where in the sidewalks is it not going to impact the people who are plowing or?
Yeah, so we end up
There's-
taking a map of where the locations are, send it over to the city, they approve them or make suggestions.
Okay,
They are movable even once they're full,
Yeah.
so with a dolly or whatever, which ended up happening with some of the sightline issues in South Barstow for those giant hellos. So that shouldn't be a problem. So it has to be finalized with the city. The other thing is, there's a few businesses in South Barstow who've opted out because they have personal plow service or sidewalk clearing, and they just didn't want the winter ones. So like down by the Pablo, they'll remove them for that purpose. Both North and South Barstow do have they hire a snow removal service, and they're aware and have the map. With a smaller planter, you're gonna have more, I would say, trouble with that than a larger one, but they're also easily movable. So,
what's the date that we would need to order these? Is somebody else already ordering some where we would, piggyback on their?
yeah, so there was a pretty significant lead time last year. So I would say it's kind of twofold. So we need to give the company the lead time to get the planters. So if we could get an order in, I would say by February, you're probably gonna be fine for a late May placement. We're not planting before that anyway. The biggest thing is that whoever's going to do the flowers usually needs to get their orders into the growers at the latest in February.
Yeah.
So you'd want to have decisions about how much stock you need for.
Right, and I think actually I wouldn't mind either bidding whatever we'd have to
Yeah.
do, or have our flower shop take
Right.
care of it.
Yeah.
Which I do plan on, offering to take care of the planters, just because I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I didn't like them last year, so I would like to do something different this
Yeah.
year.
Uh-huh.
But anyway, if we wanted to do the more rectangular ones. Is that something we could get some information about?
Yeah, and
Prior-
actually, if you could just go right to their website.
I'm doing it. Oh, you are.
Excessive amount of different options for you.
And then if we did that, is there, does the city have guidelines? Like, I know I have two out in front of my shop right now, that nobody's ever said anything, they've been out there. And would that happen to be, yeah, maybe they just
You
have.
just need to get a sidewalk encroachment for the use of it.
Okay.
For the planters, because it's a bid thing, it's a little bit easier. We've already established that.
Mhm.
I would say if you have personal things outside on your sidewalk, similar to like your sign, if you have a sign out there, there's an ordinance about where it can go. You also have to pay a sign fee annually. As far as the planters go, again, I know of many businesses who put planters out that probably haven't followed all of the exact rules, but I think it's kind of unclear to many
Yeah.
owners that they're not part of the bid, that there's even a requirement to get it approved.
Mhm.
I think the biggest thing is that it is not impeding the ability of people to use the sidewalk in the 6 feet space, especially for people with needing accommodation.
Mhm.
It's not going to be a big deal.
Okay.
That being said, now that we've talked about it, we can kind of find out. I think it would be a resource that Jackie should have, that's just layman's terms to businesses about what's like acceptable
Yeah.
outside and what needs further approval.
Well, and I think that option for us, just because our boulevard is so small
Correct,
compared
yeah.
to, downtown, it still would be nice to do something, but trying to find what would fit and then the approval if it could be
Right.
in front of a business.
And they're still kind of considered temporary, because
Mhm.
they're not welded to the ground or whatever. And so there's just different rules that apply between temporary encroachment and permanent.
Okay.
Structure going in. So that's something that we plan on working on in 2026, is just more resources available. Again, running a business is hard, and sometimes it takes 10 years for you to realize like, oh, I can't just go put a table outside in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we can work together and develop some of these materials alongside Neighborhood Services to just make it easier processing.
Okay, that makes sense. So maybe if we map out somewhat where we think either round ones or square ones can go, that would be, something then.
Yeah, and I would recommend that you guys either choose one up to two. So it's not a walking quorum, representatives that might want to kind of start this. And then we can, help assist as needed.
Okay.
On Water Street, they're looking at placing benches. So two of their members have just got decided that they will be taking that on,
Yeah,
looking around and then passing the information on to us to kind of finalize the process. So,
that makes sense.
if you have any interest, I don't know if this is an actionable item or not.
They are. Is it kind of up to us to decide how many we would want, or?
Yeah, and once I get you pricing, I can send that information over to you as long as there's no direct correspondence back and forth. But I wouldn't imagine it's gonna take longer than by the end of this week, we should have some information for that. And again, we put lower quantities in, and so I'm hoping that they just provide us kind of a wholesale tiered list that we can see if, we end up getting 10 or 20 because the other districts are, then we can split that discount with you guys.
And I guess, if is this something we need to vote on? I know as a business, I wouldn't mind sponsoring one, but and obviously our business would sponsor the flowers and then the maintenance and the changing out of the seasons.
Yeah, I think it would be worth making a motion on if you want two directors to actually pursue this first step to maybe it would be that you and Sarah want to go out and do it. And then at least the board is aware that you two are kind of charge of this. And then,
Okay. And then,
I mean, that's what I would do at this point. I don't think you're ready to make a decision on
well,
much
we
beyond
don't have,
that.
maybe.
We don't have quorum.
We don't have
so
quorum
Oh,
anyway.
okay, left.
Yeah,
They go.
well, hey,
Well, then you can't make an action item.
Right.
okay, well, but you still can.
Yeah, as long as it's just you two, there's no reason.
And I think we can make a plan and then bring it to the December meeting, and then that would still fit in with
Yeah.
ordering.
Because
And
we
if
still have pricing, we'd have pricing.
Yeah. And if you come up with a plan that you can send over to us, we can actually share it out with the bid ahead of time, just again, without the conversation back and forth, or get it to Aaron for the packet, so you guys can think on it.
That'd be great.
And let us know if there's anything that we need to help with you work on it.
Okay. Becky update.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, new staff, so excited. Along with our new staff is a new email, civic@downtownoclair.org, and that is going to be your best contact for any bid related issues.
Can you say that again?
Yes, civic, CIVIC, at downtowneauclair.org. Kate oversees that email, but I also do, so in case she's, not working that day, we're trying to kind of keep all of our correspondence, that's anything to do with this crossover between decking the bids and decking the city there. It's been going really smoothly. This is Kate's, probably 5th week. Right now, she's only working Mondays and Tuesdays all day because she still has a business that she needs to run. But that doesn't mean communication stops. And so I'm really excited about this. She's actually going to be leading a pre-strategic planning session Monday for our executive and governance team at DECI to really hone in on what this transition has meant for DECI and refocus our mission to a little bit more narrow guidelines so we can better make decisions on how we not only serve the bids, but serve the rest of the community. And so that's pretty exciting. Other more fun stuff, we found out that Fall Festival has brought down 14,000 people. There was a little mistake from Visit Eau Claire on their geofencing data they originally gave us, which was way more than that. It was unbelievable, but 14,000 people, and that's people with smartphones. So it doesn't include everybody. Doesn't include kids or anything. We also got some geofencing data from Halloween and trick or treat. For the 2 hours that we were doing trick or treat, we had 1,000 people with smartphones in our area. Everyone we saw had at least 2 or 3 kids, so you can imagine. And we went through nearly 3,000 pieces of candy. So really great event. It also got partnered with a few other happenings downtown that DECI pushed out. A spooky storefront competition. There was Jack-o'-lantern lane.
I think there was 1,200 people at least at the trains, they said.
Oh, really? Yeah. That's so great. So yeah, it was a successful event and something we're considering kind of upscaling again and just kind of adding more without taking on more work, just looking for more partnerships, being able to promote outlets already happening. Spooky storefront, just in case you don't know what it is, but it is basically to encourage people to walk around downtown, look at the decorations that our shops have, and then vote on their favorite. We also will be doing a winter window walk that will have that same energy. Just know that the only way that we know that you're participating is through registration on our website. Mm-hmm. If you haven't yet joined our pipeline, you should do that. And that's kind of where we put everything. Also, we have, oh my geez, what is it? Hey, Hybrid Howl, it's the 2nd year where we gather a group of people to do a sound bath and kind of relax, take a nice, beautiful walk up to the High Bridge and scream off of it for a few minutes. And then this year we actually partnered with the Brewing Project to bring an after event. They are open to kids and families. We'll have ice cream from Ramones, as well as some kids activities, deals on drinks that will be kicked back to DECI, and then some food trucks that are DECI members. So that's coming up. And then
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. So join us if you can. It's a screen. We also have our small business Saturday marketing is going to be starting really soon here. We're working on some collaborative approaches. Austin Bauer, who does our videography, is doing half price deals for businesses within the downtown to have a reel created for them. I'll be sending information out on that soon. And then in addition to that, we are collaborating with some downtown business owners to establish a cozy night out, which is the Friday before Black Friday, the Friday of Black Friday. The Friday after that is actually the Clearwater Winter Parade here. So it will actually, that will just be that event. And then the next Friday will be another one. Again, we'll be sending information out on that. If you want to be involved, it basically is asking businesses to stay open a little later between 6 and 8 p.m. to have something special going on. Even if you already had something going on, if you register through us, we'll be able to share that information out and create it on the webpage. Every participating business will get a luminary type of like a lantern that we have put outside your business to let you know you're participating. So just a way to encourage people to start thinking about spending their money locally this holiday season. And then last but not least, our Jumpstart Business competition is open. Applications, will be available through, I believe it's the end of December. The awards get given out at our annual awards event in March. So if you know any businesses that are new, in the downtown area, please let them know about this. Otherwise, so a new business or an existing business that has moved into the downtown boundaries. The top prize is $5,000, can be used however you need to, establish your business. So again, if you have friends or know anyone, please let them know about that. I don't know what else. We're doing a lot of stuff and it's really
Haymarket
exciting.
Holiday?
Haymarket. So we've actually moved Haymarket Holiday this year. It was originally on Small Business Saturday and
Originally not, then it was.
yeah,
Now it's not.
yeah, yes. Now it's not. And the reason we did that is because we really wanted to focus our efforts on getting marketing promotion out for the holiday shopping season, and it didn't allow us to do that. And so we actually moved it 1 week later. So it'll be the Saturday following the Clearwater Winter Parade. We'll have the tree up, it will be lit. We have a space in Pablo where Santa and Mrs. Claus come. There's a trolley that does tours of the downtown bids. And then we're actually partnering with Santa Rampage this year, who, if you're not familiar, it's the coolest Corba, sorry. The bike organization gets 100 or plus people to dress as Santa and ride their bikes through the downtown streets. They end up at the Haymarket Plaza. And so we're going to have just kind of a really fun event. Again, a way to get people into the downtown that's fun, and hopefully they stick around and shop, spend money, explore. So all of that information can be found on our website. And again, our pipelines are crucial to having communication out on this. So again, if you're not registered, get on our website to do that. Anything you want to add? I've heard it all.
Could we have like little goodie bags that say West Brands and give them to the kids that come to get pictures from Santa and trolley and that kind of thing? And somebody wanted to put a little information about this stuff in here.
So on Small Business Saturday, one of the things that we wanted to do is do a tote bag that would be given to people just coming downtown that Decky would hand out. And in that, we could have inserts from your business. So whether it's a coupon book kind of leading up through the weeks, or it's like the event that you guys are hosting, any of that information we can put in there. We've been busy, we'll get information out on that. But that was a goal of mine, as long as Decky let me buy some tote bags to do that. But we could, if you guys as a bid wanted to do something like that, we certainly can coordinate.
I think just with all of these events that are happening downtown, we're always just, we don't get the same, we don't get the traffic. So just kind of thinking creatively of how we can get people over here so that, even for like the trick or treating, I didn't even bother to sign up this year because we don't ever get anybody over here. But if we had like some sort of little pull or event or did something special over here that, families could walk over here after they trick or treat. I mean, with all of these different events, I don't know, we just maybe need to.
And I would love to develop, I think West Grand District is like one of the best districts where we can throw kind of these micro scale events because, well, first of all, you're going to be free parking. Downtown isn't, but you have a nice area that's easy to kind of section off that you're not disrupting the flow of traffic. And so I wish that we could move a little bit quicker for you guys, but I'd love for next year, again, if there's 1 or 2 board members that really want to develop, and I know we've been talking about this for a while. Plans of how we can do more here and engage West Grand. I think that would be a great idea. Kate and I have already started talking about some micro events on the bridge, and again, having kind of the starting point be here to walk people through. So again, we have to get through strategic planning and see what the board allows me to do, but I would hope that we can make that happen in 2026 for sure.
Maybe we just have like a brainstorming meeting or something where
I'll hang out with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
At the bar.
I know, and I do know Jeff is interested in that too.
So we can start thinking about what we would put in a tote.
The tote bag, again, I think what my goal would be to have Decky purchase the tote bags and then invite businesses to put the inserts in. So if you guys want to think about that, or if you need any support, if it's like a strict West Grand kind of bid promotion, but I would say each individual business as well would be able to.
I mean, No, that's easier for us to be individual ones just to.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
And I would encourage that. 'cause
Yeah,
that's
but
less
it needs,
stressful.
so then they
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
tailor whatever.
Yeah.
whether it's their business. But that, I think that would be nice. Get people
This is the fun stuff of Decky.
Yeah.
Right, and the trolley comes by here, which is really.
Yeah, we purposely make it come through, and
Super nice.
we're actually looking at adding stops for the trolley as well, for next year's for Fall Fest too. Like, I don't understand why we don't have the trolley just drop off in West Grand.
Yeah.
Walk across. But, all things for hopefully, elevating events next year.
Mhm.
I mean, it is nice, the county still allows us to use that parking lot. spots, which is really nice, because they don't have to,
Mhm.
but they allow us to do it. Sometimes the sign tells me, and so people come in and ask, but, it is still very nice of them to be able to use, it's really both of those big lots. and actually
Mhm.
both of some of that stuff. Yep. Great. Aaron, do you have any city updates?
Nothing exciting, sorry.
We're okay with that.
Or everything exciting, that's how you look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe exciting is not the right.
Any other business or announcements?
Well, I just had one item. On the boulevard on this side, there's a tree that's dead and needs to be replaced. How do we get that taken care of?
You want to reach out to Matt?
Yeah, I'll reach out to Matt.
And then just for future reference, if people put those battery operated lights on trees, they killed them.
Who's doing that?
I don't know.
That
there's
was
one-
from years ago, and I think.
Oh, okay.
And I know the tree that was in front of the shop when I took it over, I remember seeing there was like dead arms on the tree and I thought, oh, I'll go take those off. And then when I went out and trimmed it, I realized all of the arms were where the lights were. But I think the one across the street had,
Okay.
I was gonna hack it down, but then I thought that'll be on somebody's camera and they'll be like, Sharon cut that tree down and the city'd come after me for $500. I'd have to hire Jay to.
Yeah,
I mean,
We don't
Yeah.
bail you out.
You got it, you really got that.
I thought it all the way through.
Timber trespass or something.
Yeah.
They take it for you. Specific on, the
Yeah.
first one is with Matt, just so that we're aware.
Yep.
We're kind of dealing with some tree bid issues all over or bid tree issues.
The tree where, like, what's the closest, like, reference, like, business?
It'd be straight across from mine. I think between the law office and,
It's.
And Curtis?
yeah,
Okay.
kind of right.
The one
kitty-
out front from you is like a little,
And yeah, you can just mention mine is,
yeah, I feel like it needs to kind of
it
get,
needs.
Wind got it.
otherwise it's gonna keep
yes.
growing this way. It's
Yeah.
been that way.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll stake it. There's like straps that hook onto the grates
Okay.
to help pull it.
Okay.
I know there's one right outside of Becky's office that has a
Okay.
strap
That would
on
be
it.
great.
Yeah.
Okay,
If they have trouble, I got a chainsaw.
Uh-huh.
so do I.
John went out on Water Street with a blowtorch once. Apparently there's pictures floating around of that. I'd love to see.
Oh my gosh, don't do that.
Oh, and took care of the weed.
Yeah.
Pine needles
Yeah.
for weeds? Yeah.
Yeah.
We have I have a kid doing that right now at my storage units. So there's a few just the little tiny dead stuff. So I got him a torch and he was like, wait a minute, you want me to
This is
do
like
what?
family life. My neighbor does that.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun. I'm not
We have
gonna
a lot,
lie.
like little pea gravel
Yeah.
and, yeah, the weeds.
Yeah, it's hard to get rid of.
So it's, Chris will be out there just with a blowtorch.
There's like no weeds that he's.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Are we adjourned?
Yes,
So move. All right.
thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We still made this. Sorry, Eric.
Yeah.
There's a lot of business.
Yeah,
Um,
good chat.
I do.
Yeah.